Hey everyone, so today I thought I would film a DIY on how to make hair bows. I did sewing on all of this, but if you wanted every step that I do, you can use glue. So starting out, you're going to want to measure a 10.5 by 9.5 inch rectangle on a piece of fabric. You can use any fabric you want. The stiffer the fabric is, the more stiff your bow will be, so just keep that in mind when you're looking for fabric. I got this one at a store in Bakersfield. And once you're done marking that out, you're going to want to measure out a smaller square next to it, or anywhere on the fabric, that will be 2.5 by 3.5 inches long. And you're going to want to cut both of those out, like I'm doing here. After you're done cutting those out, you're just gonna want to go over to the iron and just make sure that they don't have any wrinkles in them at all. Just do a quick press, and then we're gonna go over to the sewing machine. You're gonna want to make sure that the right sides of the fabric are touching. So you're gonna want to fold it in half lengthwise, and the right sides are together. So the good side of the fabric is all on the inside. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to sew a straight stitch all the way across the top. You can do this with a hand needle, you can do it with a sewing machine like I'm doing, or you can glue it. If you're gluing it, make sure that you let it sit overnight to dry. Unless you're using hot glue, then you can just do it right away. But if you're using fabric glue, make sure you let it sit overnight so it can fully dry and it doesn't move. So there's a straight stitch, and then what you're going to want to do with that is flip it inside out so that the right side is showing now. So that's just what I'm doing here, is making sure that you pull it out and that the right sides are going to be showing. So from there, what you're going to want to do is have that seam that we just sewed. You can kind of see it on the outside. You're going to want to have that in the middle of the fabric. So it's straight down the center, like I'm showing here. Straight down the center, and then you're going to want to fold the fabric in half so that that seam is showing. So you'll be able to see that in a second. And again, if you're doing this with glue, you're just going to want to glue those sides together. So I'm folding it in half, making sure that that seam is on the outside of the fabric and there is no seam on the inside. And then you're going to want to sew a zigzag stitch if you are on a sewing machine. If not, a straight stitch is fine. And then again, if you're not using a sewing machine, just use some glue. So that is what it looks like. That thread's not supposed to be down the center. It just picked up from when I was sewing at the beginning. So that is what that looks like, and we're going to just set that aside for a little bit, and then you're going to do the exact same thing on the smaller piece of fabric. So folding it lengthwise in half, sewing across the top, making sure that right sides are together. Again, if you're sewing, sew the top. If you're going to glue, just glue the top where I sew, and you're going to flip that inside out as well. This is a little more difficult, so it's going to take some time. It took me quite a while to do this, so just have some patience. And once you flip that inside out, you're going to do the same thing, making sure that that seam is down the center and folding it so the seam is on the outside, and then stitching along the top. A straight stitch actually works better for this than a zigzag stitch. I did a zigzag stitch. It's just a little harder to sew, so if you do a straight stitch, that's totally fine. And again, if you're not stitching it, just glue it. Then what you're going to do with that is flip that inside out as well, so that the seam that we just sewed is on the inside and you can't see it anymore. And we're going to do that same exact thing with the bigger piece. The bigger piece is going to be our actual bow, and the smaller piece is going to be the little knot in the center. So once you're done with that, you're going to want to make sure that seam is in the center again, like we did with the last step. And you're going to want to make sure that that seam is not facing you, so it is on the table and you're looking at the good side. Then you're just going to want to take some time pinching the fabric and creating the folds in the bow. This took a little while to get it to how I wanted it to look, but just spend some time messing with it until you think it looks good and messing with the petals and stuff. So once you find the perfect set of ruffles that you like, you're going to want to stick a pin down the center just to keep it in place. If you don't have a pin, you can just hold it and squish the bow down and just slide this over. The pin just makes it a little easier. So then you're going to squish the sides of one of the sides of the bow all the way down and slide that little knot that we made over the top. And just sliding it down until it gets close to the center. And if you have a pin, just pull the pin out, and then you can just mess with the knot until the bow looks like how you like it. And this is what mine ended up looking like after I messed with it for a little while, so I really like it. Now moving on to putting the clip on so you can wear it in your hair. I just got these little clips at Target. They were really cheap. I think it was like $3 for the whole pack. And you're just going to want to flip the bow to the back side and just put the top part of the clip, just shove it through that little knot that we made in the back, and you're good to go. Super simple, really easy. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. And let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and I will definitely make sure to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more DIYs. I will see you all in my next video. Bye!